Hey, welcome to Super Social Club. I'm Jeremy.
This is Whisky in the Six. I'm Rob.
Welcome to the Whisky Rant Podcast.
So I'm a little crusty.
It's frustrating.
And it's going to be a little bit of a rant.
I don't understand it. I don't know why.
Some sort of injustice.
Anyway, end rant.
Hello and welcome back to the Whisky Rant Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Rob.
And tonight we have some limited edition Scotch whiskies on the table. It is that season right now.
It's crazy whiskey buying season. That's
right.
what the season my wife dreads most.
The season where your credit card statement comes in the mail and you cringe to look at it and hope you're still married after it's said and done.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got the Macallan Edition 6 on the table tonight. We're going to go through the review right off the hop. So if you're tuning in, we're going to review this whiskey right now. A gift to us, actually a loaner from our good friend Cam. He gave us his personal bottle on loan to review tonight. Hadn't even cracked it yet. Gave us the honor of cracking this bad boy. What an awesome guy.
That, you know what, truly kind of him. I don't know if I could do that. Like, if this thing's staring me in the face, I have to open it first. I have to try it. Then I'll pass it on. I'll be nice enough to pass it on. But
Cameron, he's the rep for Macallan. We'll throw his Instagram in the description of this video. You can check him out on there. He does lots of good Instagram Macallan reviews, tastings, etc. So check out his content on there.
He's been doing a lot of videos, the Instagram TV. So that's
great.
Yeah, good stuff.
So the theme tonight's episode, whiskey season, limited edition releases, and the hustle and bustle to go out and try to find these things right off the shelf.
Yep. So they say this is the last of 6.
They do. That says it right on the tab.
It says it.
It does say that. Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because usually it says like coming up, and it will say like it will preview the next one, right?
Right.
Yeah. This is officially the last one.
Oh wow. See that? All right. So it's official, and that was like the worst kept secret in whiskey history, because the 6 pillars of Macallan, they kind of figured, okay, we're gonna stop at 6.
Yeah.
And makes sense. It
does make sense. A lot of people were maybe skeptical because it's such a huge moneymaker, I'm sure, for them to keep pumping these bad boys out. But, it's Macallan. They'll come up with something else next year, I'm sure.
Yeah, and the narcissist in me likes to think that there's number 6, it's blue, 6, Toronto 6, Whisky in the 6, blue, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
For you.
Got something to do with me.
Well, it is blue, and it's featuring the elements around the Macallan distillery, and specifically the River Spey.
Yeah.
So did they run out of ideas at Macallan for this, or what? They just named it after the river?
So it's 100% natural color.
Right.
Because when you're a kid, you color your river blue and your sky.
Yeah. Everyone knows that water is blue, right?
Water is blue, right?
Yeah, it's not clear.
I mean, honestly, I love the way they look side by side.
It is a pretty 6-bottle collection. For sure.
Yeah. So whatever. I mean, I was hoping eventually there'd be a blue one. So that's it.
There you go.
They chose it to be 6.
So it is bottled at 48.6% ABV. The 0.6 coming in for the edition 6, like they all do.
Yeah. And like any good author, you could tell there was no pre-thought as to like when they first pushed this off the start. It was just 48% on the dot. Yeah. They had no intention of doing it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But they're like, hey, edition 1 worked.
Little gimmick.
Let's throw a 0.2 and pretend like this was on purpose.
Right.
But either way, it was cool. It would have been cool if they all aligned though, like the 48.1 to start and then, right? But either way.
An afterthought, but still kind of cool thing, I guess.
Absolutely. And nobody's getting that 1 anyway. Like, there's a lot less people got the 1 than the 2, 3, 4, 5, and now the 6.
I know someone who still has 1.
There's a couple guys that still have 1.
Hold on to that bottle, and we'll get into secondary market pricing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I sold mine for.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what they're selling for now.
Yeah.
So what's the breakdown on this bottle? Because we were just looking at it as far as American oak, European oak. It's a combination of both butts and hogsheads.
Yeah, so the butts are a combination of American oak and European oak. The hogsheads are just European oak. A good portion of first fill in here, which is cool. 78% butts, so we can suppose that most of that is American oak.
Okay.
And then 26% hogshead, so that's all European oak.
Okay, so we're saying maybe majority seasoned American oak casks.
Yeah, they're all seasoned casks, so but I would say the majority is probably American. And if you nose it and you close your eyes, you think you're kind of nosing the 5 sometimes. Or the 3 even.
Yeah,
right? So it's kind of
we were talking about that, and I said that this reminds me of maybe a little combination between edition 3 and edition 5.
Yeah, and that would make sense because there's a higher portion of American oak in those 2. And actually, I don't even think there is American oak in the 1, the 2, and the 4. I think it's all European oak in those 3. I could be wrong. We'll correct that somewhere.
Oh, it may make me do work.
Jeremy's
now.
gonna right here.
Every time you say something, it makes me research and do a graphic.
So now he has to do a graphic. Note to self. Do that more often.
Hopefully, Macallan's website has some easy information. I can throw that up on there.
Beautiful nose on this.
I love the nose on this. Like I was thinking about, the notes in here, and it's like it is a good combination between American oak style and European oak style.
Very approachable. Very like it's complex enough for the avid whiskey drinker, but also like pretty and delicate enough for like the newer guy. You know what I mean, or girl.
Not gonna knock your socks off on the nose with this. Good combination of that's those typical red fruits that you get. There's some spice in here, a little bit of cinnamon nutmeg combo that I'm really loving, and you got a lot of caramel.
A lot of caramel when we open the bottle. Something screams cotton candy to me. I don't know why.
A little sweetness in there.
I don't know if it's because I keep looking at the color of the box, but I'm thinking, it's got to be the sweetness that like kind of like fair, like I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's definitely getting some cotton candy here though.
Yeah, cotton candy, toffee, butterscotch combo.
Yeah.
That carries over to the palate as well.
Yeah.
You do get
it's
that.
Sugary, like just nice, like candy type elements to it.
Yeah, I'd say that for me the balance on the palate is a little bit off. I feel as far as am I getting chocolate? I'm getting a little bit of that chocolate orange note.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it's meshing with the caramel in my opinion, but
yeah, and. To the bottle's defense, it is a neck pour.
True.
Right? It's a neck pour.
Yeah.
Halfway down the bottle, or even 3 days from now, it's not going to drink the way it's drinking tonight.
Yeah, we know that these edition series do open up.
They do.
After a while.
The higher ABV, that's what tends to happen, right? Like you have 48.6, you're looking at close to 49%, which is whatever. It's going to open up quite a bit. Who knows how long this was vatting for? That's also usually a factor, right? Sure. And when do they make the decision on what's going to be the next edition? So what's the usual? I'm curious to know actually, what would be the typical vatting time period?
I don't know. I mean, other whiskeys sometimes it's 3 to 6 months.
Right. Some whiskeys it's like not at all, right? You got a single cask. Sometimes they just go straight to bottle.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're just doing like a batch, how long they let that stuff marry for.
Yeah, but and it depends on when they made the decision for this too, right? They had to decide color, they had to decide what the contents. So I guess that's all a factor. If they decided later on, then I would think just like any storyteller, your finale should be like your most well thought out piece, right? So.
Yeah, and I guess this one, I mean, we did say it is pulling elements from 3 and 5. It could be pulling elements from the other ones as well. It's kind of a collective of...
I think that's what... Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, actually. I think that's kind of what the goal was here, like kind of combining the 6.
Sure.
Bringing it all together.
Yeah, and I do kind of get a little bit of that.
Yeah. Yeah, because when we first... I think we opened the edition 1 together. Mm-hmm. We opened that together at my place, my old house, and... that bottle, maybe it's just nostalgia, maybe it's a little bit of whatever, folklore or whatever else, but when we opened that bottle, it filled the room with that aroma, I felt.
Yeah.
So I loved the edition 1, and it really, like, I tried the edition 2 before I tried the edition 1, which probably most people did.
Yep.
But I was crazy enough to actually open a bottle of edition 1.
What a mistake that was.
Right? I still made up for it in the second bottle, But it was great. I loved it. And the delicacy of that whiskey at 48%, I was blown away by. Mm-hmm. And that was all European oak. Yeah. Right? So I think that's captured a little bit in this one. Maybe more so than the rest. On the nose especially.
I'm getting a little bit of how I remember the old Macallan 12 sherries. A little bit of elements of that in here as well.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, and a great a great side to side with this would be the Macallan 12 double cask, because it's a combination of European and American sherry, right?
Yeah.
So there's no bourbon cask in this one, unlike, I think the only one they did bourbon cask for was the 3, if I'm not mistaken.
The Fine Oaks? Or sorry, you're talking Edition 3?
The Edition 3, yeah. The Edition 3. So, the triple casks also. So maybe that's also why they were trying to play with that a little bit. But
you're all about the numbers.
Yeah. Numerology. All right, so what are you getting on the palate here?
Well, like I said, like that spice, I'm getting the chocolate orange. Like I do get that orange in Macallan quite a bit. I'm getting a little bit of that here. And then the plum, that like rich kind of like stewed plum note that you get sometimes with those, the good sherry cask notes,
Yeah. A lot of like really nice, pleasant flavors for sure. A touch of like an ethanol on the back end, maybe.
Right.
Something a little hot. Not actually, I shouldn't say hot, because I remember drinking the 4 and thinking, wow, this is a lot hotter than the 1, the 2, the 3. So that's not this. This is not hot, but there's something like ethanol-y a little bit.
A little bit of spike there at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, and I do actually, I just got that like Macallan like sulfur kind of note, which I normally like.
Yeah,
and it's fine in here.
Yeah, definitely not overpowering by any means.
No, I mean I think it's a very good Macallan. I think that I like the Edition 5 just a touch more, I'd say. I got into that Edition 5 over the holidays. Oh, no, it wasn't over the holidays. It was over just a month ago or something.
Yeah.
One of those drinking sessions where it's just the only bottle I'm drinking for the entire night.
Yep.
And
that's the best way to get to it.
You get to know a whiskey really well, and I was enjoying it quite a bit.
Best way to get to know a whiskey is to do that. And I bought 3 bottles, actually, of the Edition 5 and opened... Well, I bought 4. I opened 3 of them. And 2 of them was because my brother came over and like partially like crushed the bottle the nights, because he would like pour it. He's like, "Oh, this is amazing." I'm like, "Yeah. You finished the bottle the last time you were over. It's the same one."
So like, make sure you have this every time I'm here.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it is limited, so you better hurry up and go out and get it. So, but I like it. What are you gonna score this one?
I mean, it's a first pour and it's a neck pour. Score-wise for me on this one, for the Edition 5, I scored that one 86.5 out of 100. I think I'm going to go 1 mark less for this Edition 6 and go 85.5 out of 100 on this one.
Okay. I'm going to go with an 87. I was thinking 87 from the beginning. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm marking with the assumption that this is a neck pour and it's going to get a little bit better. Right. So you can dock it a half mark if you like, if that gives you a little bit of a better perspective of how I feel about this, even a mark. So between an 86 and an 87, that's where I'm at. Yeah,
I mean, this would be a definite buy for me at the right price in the right market. I'm not sure at the U.S. market if these ticked up over the $110 mark. That's where I used to buy them at.
They did. Yeah. I've noticed in a few shops that they're about like 130, 100 up to 140.
140 would be pushing it for me, I think. I think the LCBO sells the Edition 5. What was it for? 180?
189, I think.
Almost, so 190.
So 190.
That's a little bit too much in my opinion. I would be comfortable at, the 120 USD mark, I think.
Man, those Edition ones at $99 US.
Yeah.
And that was back when the dollar was close to par.
I remember I paid $99.99 plus shipping for that bottle.
Yeah.
Should have bought a case.
Should have bought 6 cases.
And we'll get into the secondary market on what those are currently going for.
Yeah.
But so we're in the mid to high 80s on this. I mean, I do like it. I like all the Macallan Edition series. I think are good. I think Macallan being bottled at a higher ABV helps it out quite a bit.
Dare I say I like the Classic Cut series a little bit better, maybe.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I think I liked the second year that the Classic Cut.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was big on 2019's.
I really liked last year's. I don't know what it was about it. Like when my own bottle I didn't like as much as when my neighbor poured a couple of drams for me, and I really, really liked it. So I was shocked at the ABV when I was drinking it that night because it was just it drinks so nicely.
Yeah, see, for me, that it felt a little thin on the finish. I think that's what the knock was, in my opinion, on that one.
Fair enough.
So big thank you to Cameron for lending us this bottle.
Cheers, Cam.
Again, check him out on Instagram. It links down below. So we're mid-high 80s on this.
Yeah.
Score-wise, I like it.
And it can go up, like we said, that's a neck pour, right? So,
sure, yeah. This thing gets some air in the bottle. Those flavors that I was maybe getting a little imbalance on, maybe those balance out and just smooth right out and just become really good. But yeah,
definite buy for me, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's a buy for me at the right price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next up is the pressures of whiskey season,
right?
And all it encompasses, which is especially like when it comes to our wallets, because let's be honest, it's a pretty expensive time of year.
Right, because like Ardbeg's got their release come out, Laphroaig's got their release come out.
Got their cartridges.
Right, every single year. And like, are you obligated to buy that every year? I feel like I am.
I almost feel like I am. The editions come out, you want one of those. You don't want to be the guy that like is left in the dust when everybody's like gawking and raving and ranting about that one expression that you missed out on.
Yeah,
so you have to try them all.
You got to get in there before the flippers get in too, because they were just buying up cases at a time.
Yeah, you try to get like
secondary.
An Octomore 11.3, and basically cases are gone before you can even sniff it, because these guys are all flipping it on secondary before you even get a shot at it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some of these do come out like end of August or whatever. By the time we see them, it's essentially the fall.
Let's say late August to mid-November is whiskey season, I guess you can say. And that's global.
Yeah.
So, first of all, why? Why is that the case? Because...
I'll tell you why.
Okay, tell me why.
Because first of all, people don't want to work as much in the summertime, right? Okay. It's vacation time. I don't think distilleries, honestly, like they either have reduced hours or shut down production a little bit during the summer months, I think.
Right. So I'm glad you said that, because, and I was thinking about this, like North America has its summer months in June, July, August. Right?
Yeah.
But that's North America.
Yeah.
Not everybody's experiencing summer at the same time we do.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, this is a global phenomenon. And, like you got to remember, Scotland has nothing to do with the global, like, the North American climate.
I feel like their summer might even be a lot shorter, right? As far as, like, perfect weather is concerned.
For sure.
Yeah. And I'm sure they relish. I mean, I haven't had the pleasure of being over there in the summertime, but I'm sure... their nice sunny days are few and far between,
right?
For the most part.
Yeah.
So when they do get them, I'm sure they're don't want to be stuck at work.
Yeah, like I feel like they could spread it out. I feel like, why not just spread it out? I get it. Like, people want their vacation time, especially in North America. They're gonna want to take those like summer months off. I get it. Okay, so granted, but if they just spread it out, then everybody would have like a full bankroll to buy all these expressions.
Well, you just got to be smart about your money, save it up. But I mean, like, people don't drink whiskey as much in the summer months, right? Like,
true.
We move away from it a little bit. We get into maybe some agave
Tequila,
spirits here and there. They're a little more suitable to hot climate.
True.
Drinking. But then as soon as that fall hits, like as soon as that first cold wind comes in, you're reaching for your heavily peated whiskey, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It is a good point. It does bode well with colder weather, for sure. There's no doubt in my mind that that's true.
And then you got to get primed up for the holiday season, right? Because like buying whiskey as a gift is huge, right? It's huge for their marketing and etc.
I think you nailed it there. I think these guys have to be out. Everybody's got to be like out and like media driven by mid-November.
Sure.
Right? Because what's coming up? Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, all like the big like gift giving season, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
New Year's.
As soon as the US Thanksgiving's done, you get Black Friday, and then boom, it's Christmas season instantly.
Right.
And then everyone's focused into consumerism, buying gift for Christmas, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And of course, buy your scotch, a bottle of whiskey for your whiskey enthusiast on your list.
Yeah. So let's go through some of these whiskeys, because it's crazy if you really like want to get into it. So you got 4 different types of Octomore that come out every single year at this time.
Right, yeah. We didn't even think about, I wasn't thinking about Octomore, but yeah, there's another one.
So the 11.1, 11.2, 11.3, 11.4 all come out pretty much at the same time right now. And like every once in a while they'll throw in a 10-year-old. So I think this year they actually did that.
Yep.
So there's also a 10-year-old in the mix.
So there's 4 bottles you need to buy.
Right.
5.
And that's Brookladdy's not done there. They got the Blackheart 8.1 coming out.
Yeah.
They got the Port Charlottes, which there's a plethora of those.
Right, yeah.
And then there's just their standard like Brookladdy release that like the 2009 I think it is this year, or the 2010. I'm not sure exactly. It's usually about 10 years old. But so like Brookladdy right there just broke your bank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you move over to Macallan. They got the Edition series. They got the Classic Cut series.
Have you seen the new Macallan Red series that came out?
Well, the new Macallan
Starting
Red series.
Starting at 40 years old and going to, what, 78 or something?
Well, now they're after, like, hedge fund bankroll. They're not even just after us anymore.
Is there a point in releasing whiskey that's never going to get opened?
It bothers me a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Like, maybe 6 of those bottles out of, like, the 2,000 that are released are ever going to be opened. And those are all by company ambassadors and stuff like that are like,
or
hey,
maybe
buy our whiskey.
Like a restaurant will maybe crack one and sell, drams for $10,000 a pour or something.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully there's at least that, because it's sad. Like some of the best whiskeys you'll ever think of probably will never touch like a taste bud.
Yeah.
Like,
where's Mike and Narby malt reviews?
Yeah, exactly.
They're the only guys that will like dare crack something like that.
I don't know if you watched Mike and Narby's recent video. They just like sat on a porch and chilled.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
So really cool.
I gotta catch up on malt reviews.
Narby's telling a story about when like they were like, this is pretty early on in their whiskey journey, and Mike buys a bottle for like $11,000. Yeah. They get it like 2 days later and pop it instantly.
Of course.
It's like,
I love that style.
It's incredible. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I mean, to a way lesser extent, I just did like the exact same thing yesterday with my Glenallachie 1989.
Right. Yeah.
31-year-old. Like it's a hefty price on that bottle. We Jasper and I split it, but popped it right away.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's my mentality. Like I'm so curious.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just look at it on the shelf for too long. I mean, I do have a couple bottles on the shelf that have been sitting there, but not that many.
So my thing is, if you're gonna collect one, you have to buy 2. You have to know what that was. Like, I will not purchase a whiskey that just sits on my shelf.
I know.
I can't do it.
I hate that. Because it's like, oh, how's that one? Like,
I have no idea. I'll never
no
open that
idea.
Well, sorry, what?
Okay.
It's like, I have this amazing sports car in my driveway, but I don't know what it does.
Yeah, it's like how's that thing corners? Like, I don't know.
I don't even have my license. That's essentially the equivalent of like these hedge fund guys buying up that like Macallan 40, 50, 70, 78, whatever the hell.
I saw a news expose on a collector in the UK, this old British guy, and he doesn't even drink. Doesn't drink.
That blows my mind.
But has this like immaculate collection. He just liked collecting. He collected other stuff too, but like no interest in drinking anything. Doesn't drink alcohol, but has like one of the best whiskey collections.
It would be cool if like he was like willing to open them and like give them to other people, but like there's no way he's doing that.
It was not his style.
He's greedy.
Yeah.
He's like, was it like, which duck is it that jumps into like the pool of money in the intro to the?
Oh, DuckTales.
Is it DuckTales? Like,
was it Scrooge?
Daffy?
Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck.
He had the big money bank.
He had the money bank. He had the pool where he swims in like a...
Right.
There's only one thing better than owning a vault full of cold hard cash, and that's swimming in it.
And first of all, the physics on that doesn't work out. You can't jump headfirst into a vat of coins.
No, you can't. You die. But it would still be like, I mean, that's that guy in a nutshell, right? He's swimming in his like array of filled bottles of whiskey. So
throwing back the old school reference to the DuckTales.
Yeah, that guy's Scrooge McDuck. Scrooge McDuck. That's who he is. So we're not done because So we talked about Laphroaig Cartridge.
No, we didn't.
We did not.
No.
So Laphroaig Cartridge is another one. Every year it comes out, and this is a funny one because the retail on this is very reasonable.
It is. Actually, it's probably one of the best value like limited edition scotches that come out every year.
100%. This is 52%. They're usually a decent ABV on them. I don't recall any being low.
They're all bottled pretty high, I believe. Well,
I think the lowest one that I saw was like 48%.
We have this. This is my favorite cartridge, the Portwood edition. This one's coming in at 51.3. So they're all bottled like, you know, in the 50s, I guess.
Right. This
not
is 52.
Cask strength, but they're
not
up
cask
there.
strength. But this was for me. This was really impressive this year. I really liked that one. Ardbeg comes out with the black. So their regular release for whatever that, not their regular release, their special release for that year, that's going to be at 46% plus the committee release of that version. So there's 2 there. Ardbeg also now is doing the 19-year-old. So that's another one that they're going to be releasing every year, right? Springbank is guilty.
Right.
They come out with a different version of the 12. All of them, the
They're
10,
all
the 12, the
every
15,
year.
they're all batch like variation. Yeah. There's batch variation in all of them. That includes long grow 18s. That includes like I didn't finish with Springbank 18, 21, and 25. Each year you're getting different casks out of all of them. So you have to buy the new one. You can't just not buy the new one. You're not gonna just walk by the new one.
Of course, what are you, an idiot? Come on.
Of course you're gonna spend $700 on the new Springbank 25-year-old. Then you got the Longo Red series, which is coming out every year pretty much.
Yeah.
Not pretty much, it is. Hazelburn does the same thing. So we're still talking about the same company coming out with only special releases pretty much every year. Hazelburn does the same thing with I call it the Oloroso Sherry series, because they did the 12, they did a 13, they did a 14, and they're back to the 13, all pretty much cask strength Oloroso Sherry. And they're limited by 6,000 bottles every year. Or 6,000 or 9,000, I think it's 6,000. Am I missing any? Oh, and now our best friends Diageo just decided to do this whole cask strength, which I'm really happy that they're doing age-stated cask strength whiskeys. Yeah. But every year they're doing it now. So they did it last year, huge success. Doing it again this year, it will be a success again. I've heard some of them are not as good as last year or whatever, but that's irrelevant.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, just going back to that Springbank, I didn't even realize that essentially their core range are special releases.
They're all special releases.
Right? Their core range is special releases.
So to the naked eye, it would look like it's just a core range. But if you're actually following the storyline, if you're like, it's like that thriller, there's always like the twists and turns in the plot that if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. They change their barrels almost on every single one of those things. So now the new 18-year-old Long Grow, for example, has rum casks in it. I've never seen a Long Grow with rum casks in it.
There you go.
So pretty cool stuff. And like this is like whiskey geek like fueled, because we love this shit, right? We love this shit.
Yeah, the curiosity, man. I gotta know. I was like, oh, a Long Row's got a rum cask now. How's that going to translate to their character and to the profile of that whiskey? And I gotta try that too.
Exactly.
That's why it's good to have a whiskey group or a couple guys you can go in and split bottles with, right? Because like not all these releases are going to be good. Like I've come down hard on Ardbeg for some of their limited releases and the prices that you have to pay to get those bottles, and them not being as good as some of the core range stuff.
Rightly so.
The Carchus hits and misses for me. I thought that the cask strength quarter cask wasn't that good. I mean, good, but like not where I expected it to be. I think that the Marcella did it, or Marcella or Madeira cask? What was that one? That one was good. The red label one.
That was the Carchus you're talking about?
Yeah. Anyway, graphic here. More work for me to do.
Yeah, more work for you.
Can't remember what it was. I like that one. Of course, the Portwood is really good.
I really like this one. I think this is one of the better ones. This is port and wine casks.
Yeah, so I poured some of that.
I really like it. I think it's great. I'm going to pour some myself, actually.
Do you want to go head to head with this?
Yeah, we can do that.
Right? I mean, we should.
We should do that.
We should.
I do have something else poured in my other glass, so I'll have to grab another.
I'll have to grab another glass, too. But yeah, we should go head to head, because this is one of the more sought after ones. I think this is one of the first, not the first release cartridges, because they go back a while, I think. But as far as they started coming with them every year, don't quote me on that. Anyway, I think it's one of the very first ones when they started doing this style label. with the different color labels, right? Macallan ripped them off.
And Ardbeg. Well, who did it? Who did it first? Ardbeg or Laphroaig? We should find that out.
Macallan or Laphroaig for these like colored labels.
Oh, the colored labels.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, like Laphroaig's got the different colored labels each year. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, true. Ardbeg just does a completely different theme, I guess, so that doesn't count.
Right. What did you think about this Ardbeg?
I like it. Yeah. I think it's good. It's super iodine-y, if that's a word. It's not a word, but it is.
Iodine is a word. I mean, I understand what it means, so it's a word, right?
I guess. Contextually, it makes sense. A lot of iodine, a lot of like asphalt and all that other kind of stuff that you would like in an Ardbeg, I think. And you do get that red wine cask, I find, influence. It's not like overwhelming by any means, but if you sit there with it, you pick it out,
right.
Especially if you sit there with it side by side with a glass of like the 10, because then you really get the differences.
Yeah.
If you sip it on its own, it's like, am I drinking Ardbeg 10? I might be, right? But that's actually, in my opinion, a compliment, because I always liked the Ardbeg 10. So
yeah.
All right, so how much would all this add up to if you were to go into be the guy that buys all the regular releases every year? Like, okay, let's be modest. Let's say you had to you pick 5. How low?
Well, pick the 3 that we have on the table right now.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
So
at the LCBO,
at the LCBO, between 110 and 130.
That's actually probably the best value one that we get anyway. In
I think we're better priced than most places in the world.
Yeah. So chalk that one up for mystery.
Yeah, so we can deduct.
Are we gonna roll one back?
Should we roll?
Okay.
Well, we could.
All right.
It's a good expression.
Oh, yeah, it is good.
Although we're gonna add a couple later when you tell a story.
Oh God. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna add a couple later.
Little bonus.
So we'll give them some slack now, and then later we'll ding them. So let's say 120.
Okay.
This is gonna probably come in at 190.
Okay.
Maybe more.
Right. So
it's the last
we're at
edition.
310.
Let's say 190.
Okay.
All right, and then $200 for the Ardbeg every year special release.
Right. So we're over $500 Canadian just for these 3.
Just
bottles.
for these 3.
Yeah.
And $500 is not like, people are willing to dish that out on a regular basis. Like, not the average. Like, we have a channel. There's lots of reasons why, we decide to dish out that kind of money. But that's not easy money for people to dish out regularly on whiskey. It's a lot, yeah. That's like their half year's supply of whiskey, you know what I mean? Sure. For some people. Yeah. So it's... Now you got a guy, let's say, big money. He buys all of those bottles. Right. You're looking at $10,000.
Yeah, at least, right? I mean, if you factor in all the Springbanks, all the Brookladdies, everything that comes out in a limited edition form.
Yeah, the Diageos. Like,
all
there's
the Diageo special releases, because those get expensive, right?
Well, yeah, there's the Mortlock that, like, the 25-year-old was like $2,500.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
It's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. Springbanks, for me, are the worst because I have to buy them.
I know.
I have to try them. Jasper peer pressured me into buying the 25-year-old this year. Yeah. It was a little bit of a letdown.
Right.
But
compared to last year.
So it was a letdown. But big things are coming. The Springbank 21-year-old, a lot of people are talking about.
We're not talking about it.
We're not talking about it.
We're not talking about
it. We're
going
to delete this. We'll delete this part of the podcast.
We're not talking about that. We definitely do not want to get a bottle as soon as we can.
No, we're not getting a bottle. Actually, we heard it's trash.
Yeah, terrible.
It's trash
not
this year.
Not as good as last year's. Forget about it.
Don't buy it. Let us buy it first.
Yeah, so I mean, like, and it's not just the money, right? It's like actually getting your hands on some of these things. Like Ardbeg, you can find the regular release. The committee release gets scooped up quick. Yep. It goes to secondary market quick. I mean, we talked about it on this podcast, first to market with people in the secondary market as soon as they can get their hands on it. No one else has it yet. Those first bottles are going for super, super inflated prices. Yep. I think we talked about even the Laphroaig cartridges went for crazy money. Yep. Of course, the Ardbegs go for crazy money. The Macallans, I don't know, like, I haven't seen them on there yet.
They won't go on secondary until this is all over, right? You can't get them anymore, then they're going to be the most out of everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think the whole set right now is going for about close to $3,000 Canadian at the moment.
Yeah, so I guess this is a good time to talk about secondary prices on, these things. So Macallan Edition 1, right? The sought after one, the one that was the more limited release. I'm not sure the bottle count, but it was, I think, half of what the other ones were.
Yeah, it was probably 90,000 as opposed to 200,000.
Right.
So
currently in the UK market, this one sold October 4th this year, so just a couple weeks ago. 850 British pounds. Then you got to add in 10% on top of that for their buyer's fee. So you're looking at around, almost £1,000.
Yeah.
Almost £1,000. That's what, almost $1,200 or so?
Yeah.
Maybe
you're looking at close to $1,800 Canadian.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
It's a lot of money.
I remember there was a whiskey group I'm part of on Facebook. The guy posted a screenshot of a online retailer asking over $1,500 for an Edition 1.
Crazy.
I mean, out of control. Ardbeg in the UK market, not as expensive. The Ardbeg, like for instance, the Dark Cove, right? One of the more sought after limited edition Ardbeg releases. Recent years, community releases looking at about 250 British pounds there. For the regular release, about 160.
When the Black Committee release came out, it was going for astronomical prices right off the hop. Yeah. Right off the hop. And I haven't tried the community release. I really like the regular black. I think it's great. Mm-hmm. Even this was going for big money on secondary.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in the UK market on these Ardbegs is a little bit less than the North American market on the secondary. Because I've seen an Ardbeg Dark Cove committee release, $700, $800 Canadian. Just crazy.
Insane. I mean, we've talked about like how none of these bottles actually warrant that value.
No.
Right? It's scary when people are still selling the Ardbeg Black, which will be available everywhere for quite some time soon. Like it's that pressure to be the first.
This hasn't even rolled out in Ontario yet.
So, as YouTubers, we feel that pressure. As bloggers, I'm sure they feel that pressure. As like you have a website, you're scoring like Serge. Serge doesn't feel pressure. Let's be honest. Like he doesn't give a rat's ass right now.
No.
But we feel the pressure. What is the incentive to be like just the average whiskey drinker and be the first to try it? Like what? Like why is that necessary?
I don't know, but
they're paying for it.
When I picked up this bottle from Cam, I felt pretty cool because I know it's not out in Ontario yet. Not too many people have even tried it.
Right.
Our good friend Rohit has a bottle of it, but it's not out in Canada yet. So I felt I was a pretty cool guy walking around with this thing.
The day that Nicholas, which is like he's high up there now in the Macallan like Corp, like he works for Macallan Canada and North America. Actually, he was in New York for quite some time. He let me leave a tasting the day of the Macallan release, the Macallan Edition 5 release. He let me leave the tasting with a heel of the Macallan Edition 5.
Yeah,
I felt like the coolest guy on YouTube.
Yeah. Because it's like, let me get home and put this video up.
Right. That's exactly what I did. Like I went home, I recorded a video and I popped it up. I want to say that night. Like I have zero patience when it comes to that kind of stuff. If I record it, I edit, I throw it up. My editing is hacked. That's why I brought somebody in now. My buddy Steve Gascoigne does that stuff now. But yeah,
I mean, that's what we're doing with this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I literally picked this bottle up from Cameron today.
Well, exactly.
We're shooting this tonight.
And that's also why take our mark with a grain of salt, right? Like it's what we marked it at, give or take, maybe a mark or two, right? Who knows? Yeah. Halfway down this bottle, it might be the best Macallan Edition we've tried. We don't know yet.
So, I mean, just getting these bottles, like we mentioned before, I told a story about getting Laphroaig cartridges from the LCBO before. I'll reiterate it again. Essentially, in the LCBO here in Ontario, it's government run. And I went into an LCBO, and they post their stock on the website. Like, you can see what stores have what bottles.
Yeah.
So I got there as they opened. I was the first in the door. I'm like, looking around, there's no Laphroaig cartridge on the shelf. I'm like, and I asked the manager, I'm like, the website shows you have 6 bottles in stock. I don't see any.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, no, we don't have it. I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean you don't have it? Talked to another manager. And they were like, "Oh, were you waiting outside for this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I came here because it said you had 6 in stock." They're like, "Okay, come with me." Goes behind the counter and pulls out a bottle. They were hoarding them behind the counter. I'm like, this can't fly in a government-run store. I'm sorry.
No, that's not right.
Everyone should have equal opportunity. A manager at a government-run liquor store cannot be favoring certain friends, family, whatever they were doing with it.
I say like
not flying.
A solid -10 on the Macallan.
Oh wow, let's roll up. Yeah.
A solid -10.
Well, it's not minus. It's a plus, right? It's counting how many times they think they suck.
How much they suck.
Yeah.
So add 10 to the
Okay,
score.
we're rolling at 10.
So they're plus 10 on the night. Plus 9 on the night.
Okay.
Because they got a
true.
-1.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're plus 9 on the night.
Man,
they suck. They suck.
But yeah, like these people are like, they're buying them up because they know that there's a secondary market value for them.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, we're guilty. Like I'm guilty. I know I am. I ran home from like receiving that heel of the Macallan Edition 5. Had to record my review. Had to get it up. Had to be the first. In retrospect, did it get me that much more views? Probably not. Did it get me any more respect? Definitely not. So like, what's the point? Like, being the first, is it beneficial? Depends, I guess. Being the first to get the Johnny Walker White, was it?
Yeah, there's lots of examples of being first to market with a review. Is huge for your channel. You can look at the Conor McGregor release, right?
That's right.
Look what that did to a couple Whiskey Tube channels.
Yep.
And you're right, the White Walker, Johnny
White
Walker,
yeah,
also blew up a couple channels as well.
So, but what are we talking about when we're talking about a whiskey that's gonna blow up your channel? We're talking about a whiskey that the general public is gonna want, that are not really actually whiskey drinkers. Like, the types of guys that are listening to this podcast.
No, it's something that hit the mainstream media at some point that sparked people's interest.
Right. I call them empty calorie subs or empty calorie viewers, because they'll watch your channel, they might subscribe, they'll never come back again. No. Unless like the next White Walker comes out, and
because they have no idea about the whiskeys that we're reviewing.
That's right. They don't care to either. Like, and rightly so. They don't have to care. That's not their shtick. But it's those kind of whiskeys that fuel us wanting to be the first on like really good whiskeys. You know what I mean? But those are really not the whiskeys that are gonna hit gold.
So referring to like Whiskey Tube, for example, being first to market with some of these special releases, it does make a difference as far as who's seeing your video, right? Yeah.
So we talked about the White Walker. We talked about even the Conor McGregor whiskey. Mm-hmm. Those really blew up those channels. Yeah. Right. Something on a much smaller scale, but last year we're just looking at the Macallan Edition 5. So I was first to air with that because of thanks to Nicholas. So I did it exactly a year ago or just over, and I have 12,000 views on that video. The next guys to roll with that were the Scotch test dummies, so Scott and Bart. Mm. They have 8,900. And then after that was the Scotch 4 dummies, who have 6,100. So, and then it like progressively drops from there.
Right. What's my one?
So you're at 2,300.
So and I did it way later.
So it was 8 months ago, yours. So you're 4 months late to the party, essentially. Yeah. And it was the difference of 10,000 views. Yeah. Right? So it does make a difference. Yeah. But you definitely had the nicest thumbnail out of everybody. You had the Purple Rain thumbnail, which is pretty cool.
Throw it back to Prince.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes a difference being first to air.
For sure.
Right? Which, again, explains why we would be so pressured to buy these first. But, what do you think? I mean, we're talking Whiskey Tube here. I still can't fathom why other people would need to be the first to try that. You know what I mean? Like, what benefit does it... You mentioned Rohit earlier. What benefit does it serve him to be the first to try the Macallan Edition 6?
Bragging rights.
Okay.
You know?
Sure.
You get to post it on Instagram first.
True.
You know? the envy of all your peers.
Is that sounds a little bit like narcissistic? A little
Of course,
bit.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing about even like collecting whiskey or whatever. It's like you got something that someone else doesn't have,
that nobody else has.
I mean, it is like pretentious in that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's the way it goes. It's the way it goes with anything else, right?
It's
like
true.
Anything that's coming out that's new. Like, to be the first to get your new Tesla car or whatever, it's anything like that.
It's true. And I mean, we see this most with the bourbon channels.
Yeah.
I think. Like, Michter's Toasted Barrel Rye came out. And the guy that I knew was going to be the first to air with this was the first to air, my boy Jason from the Mash and Drum.
Yeah.
He came out with that right away. And then, like, I think there was a couple trickled after that, but being the first makes a difference, man. It makes a big difference.
And you know what we should mention, because you know how we initially talked about the Weller single barrel,
yeah,
and we did the odds of who's going to review it next.
Yeah,
Fred Minnick was the first, but he got a bottle sent to him from Buffalo Trace, so we threw that one out.
So that doesn't count.
You know who won it? You know who was the first?
Who's that?
The Bourbon Judge.
The Bourbon Judge.
Small channel, Bourbon Judge. I really like his content.
Nice.
He bought the bottle. Had a connection with his liquor store owner,
Nice.
got it for retail price.
Attaboy.
So he was the field. So if you bet the field, you would win. Because still to this day, his review actually came out a while ago. I should have mentioned it in a couple podcasts ago, but I forgot. But Bourbon Judge took it home, and those big channels have not got a bottle yet.
I feel like I want to create a little bit more work for you and like roll what we said.
That's not too bad. That's easy to do.
That's easy to do.
Yeah,
like,
I'll
just,
roll that.
Like what did we bet on? And then the next podcast, I don't know, like what do we get at it? Like, what was a friendly bet? What did we say?
Yeah, it was. It was a pour or something. I think
Pour
right?
out of our best open whiskey, basically. Yeah. I think I already gave you that tonight, but
that's anytime I come over here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, Bourbon Judge. If you haven't checked out Bourbon Judge, check him out. He's a good guy. He has a little gavel and thing. He makes a judgment on the bourbon that he does. So it's good. I like it.
Very cool. The being the first comes with a lot of pressures. What I guess the best what advice would you want to send these guys home with tonight? Saying like, we just recently experienced kind of a punch in the face from a brand that I know you love. So I'm waiting to hear what you have to say about the price hikes of Octomore. Because,
oh my god, I'm fucking devastated.
Right? Like I was wondering when this is gonna come up. So like, I think when something like this happens, it's smart. It's the wise choice to go back and say, hey, what did I miss out on last year? Can I still get that? Can I still get the Octomore 10.1? I did see it at the LCBO for like $220 or something like that. So that's not the best price, but it's available. And there's going to be people fighting, killing their mother to get the new 11 series, so the 0.1, the 0.2, 3, 4, and whatever else. Do you pay the $300 on the 11.3, or do you just source back and say?
Yeah. So why did they jump the price? Like here in Alberta, they have the best price on Octomore anywhere in the world
For a very long time. I think that's our fault that we've mentioned this a few times. You specifically have said that a few times.
Yeah, okay, but it's just karma coming back to kick me right in the teeth. Because we were paying like 160 Canadian dollars for an Octomore, and now
sometimes less.
And yeah, you know how much I paid for a 6.3 back in the day? $140 shipped.
Buddy,
140.
There was the
re-release.
Remember that re-release of the 6.3?
Yeah. They just found
we stole those bottles. I feel like we made out like bandits getting those bottles. But yeah, the 11.3 is gonna retail for what? It was like almost $300 Canadian.
It's now that's U.S. prices, right? Because guys down in the States are Octomore down here is $230.
I actually feel like if the LCBO picks it up, they're gonna have it for less than the rest of Canada now.
Yeah,
because that's what tends to happen. They stick to the price that they valued it at years ago, and then everybody else raises their prices, And now they look like a hero.
The LCBO tells their suppliers, no, you charge me what you charge me before. Don't charge me less.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to charge our customers less.
No,
it's going to be the same.
Yeah. So they're going to charge us. So I think it was $220 for the 10.1, and it'll probably be, if they get any of the 11, the same price.
But they don't get the 0.3s of the LCBO. They only get 0.1s.
Yeah. What? I wonder why.
I just feel like because the 0.1s, there's more bottles available. Maybe. I don't know.
They don't have to fight as hard to get the 0.1s.
Ugh,
but if you think
I'm
about
taking a tick off the LCBO. I'm tick on the LCBO sucks for that.
Yeah,
no 0.3s.
Oh man, they're like plus 10 tonight. God. In the worst kind of way.
I got a story about the LCBO that will literally be like 100 points against them.
I can't wait to hear this. Are we hearing this tonight, or are we hearing this on another night?
Do you want to just go through it right now?
I think you should do it. I think we should be plus 110 on the night.
All right. So this story came out a while ago, and I was going to mention it in a podcast, and it just never got to air. The LCBO. There was a news story recently about a person who purchased some wine online through the LCBO. And due to LCBO stupidity, fuckery, you can't work a freaking website, they ended up charging him $0 for a case. I think it was a case of 6 or 12 or whatever.
Let's keep in mind that this is actually illegal. They have to charge you 10 cents for the actual bottle that contains whiskey.
Anyway,
or any type of alcohol.
There was a mistake, and it was $0, and they honored the price. And this actually happened to me one time at the LCBO because they're so stupid. I was buying actually a couple of bottles of port because I do like I season little casks with port and then mature some shit. So sometimes at the LCBO they'll have like, regular price, save $2, and then now it's whatever.
Yeah.
They flipped those around, and it was the selling price was $2, but that was supposed to be the sale. Like the discount was supposed to be $2, but the actual price was $2.
Oh, man.
So I go up to the counter. I just wanted 2 bottles. I go to the counter with the tag. I took it with me. I'm like, "There's a mistake on this. It says like, instead of save $2, the whole price is just $2 a bottle. It was like a $14 bottle of port or something." And they're like, "Okay, we'll honor the price for you, sir." I'm like, "What? Why?" I'm not like making a stink here. They're like, "Oh, it's $2 bottle.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be $14." They're like, "Oh, we'll honor that for you." And they honored the price and sold it to me for $2 a bottle.
You should have went back and cleared the shelf. And
they weren't gonna. No, they're like, I'm like, "Well, okay, I'll take the whole rack then." They're like, "No, we'll just do just for the ones that you got."
Oh, wow.
The 2.
Unbelievable.
I'm like, this is why governments cannot run.
No, they shouldn't, because
liquor stores or really anything.
Really anything.
This private market.
Let's be honest.
I mean, I get it in some respects. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm not like anti-government or anything. But
it's necessary for, I don't know about necessary, but it has benefited us with healthcare, with police servicing, with firefighting, with like all these other like services that we receive on a regular basis. Alcohol is not one of them.
No.
Alcohol should be a private industry.
Yeah.
They're doing it because they're making a lot of money.
Yeah, they are.
They're making a lot of money. So that's why they do it, and unfortunately we suffer because of it, because they make a lot of really dumb decisions.
So how many points are we adding to the LCBO sucks ticker on?
There was 2 stories there.
Okay, so the guy that got the wine for free.
Yeah.
Right? And the LCBO honored the price. How many ticks for
some
that?
people are thinking like that's like you should negative, like you hit the negative on that one, because like they honored like that guy.
Oh, so we're giving the LCBO like credit because they it was $0 and that's how much they charged them. $0.
I feel like we should give them a plus 10 on how much they suck.
So 10 suck points for that.
No, plus 50. Sorry,
50.
Let's give them plus 50 for how much they suck because they didn't catch that.
Okay. All right, roll 50.
No, let's do 100. You're right.
100.
You had said 100. Let's keep it at 100.
100.
But we're gonna subtract some here, because if you were that guy walking out with a free case of anything alcohol, you're like, you feel like you just won the lottery. So we can give them, because they honored it. We'll roll back 20.
You know what I would do if I was that guy? I would go to a different location and just return them all for full price.
100%. That's like the exact, and then go back. Go back to the original store and wonder, check if they marked it down again. So we got to figure out what like the plus minus is tonight, because it's gonna get a little tricky. 'Cause we haven't even talked about that second story.
Okay, so it's 100 LCBO suck points for them.
Minus 20 because the dude got to walk out for free
and then
stuff.
minus 20 because they honored it and he actually got them for free.
And then
for my story, okay, let's go. Not as crazy as that. So what do you want to do? Like,
they didn't let you clear the shelf,
No.
which is at least a little savvy on their end.
Yeah.
So we'll go minus 10.
Minus 10.
Plus 3.
Okay.
Because
they honored the price.
You were happy that you left with $4.
So it's a plus minus of seven suck points for them.
So
7.
So 87 total added.
Okay.
87 total added plus whatever we added before. You're going to have to do some math when you edit this.
Yeah, hopefully the ticker goes up that high. I have to figure out it's going to be a different graphic now, I think.
Oh, that's okay, whatever. I don't think people are paying attention to the graphic.
It was just like a makeshift graphic anyway. All right. I love it. All right, are we done and dusted here? Oh, I want to mention the Carchis.
The Carchis, yeah. I'm drinking this right now. And in my opinion, it's actually killing the black.
Yeah. I do like it more. Actually, you know what? Like putting it head to head with this gem of a portwood here, it's actually pretty good.
They stand toe to toe. I really like. Actually, I just took a sip of the black. Also very good. I want a fair comparison would have been to compare the Carchis with the committee release because they're a little bit closer in ABV. Right. Yeah. So because of that, I won't say which one's better. They're both really good. I like them. I like them a lot. I might reach for the black a little bit more because it's a lower ABV. Mm-hmm. Like on a night where I just want to chill, watch like Hunting of House Bly and drink something light. Because I splash it all over myself when I get scared.
Are you one of those guys that jumps at a
There's some things that I jump, like
scene.
Kickboxing aside, I jump every once in a while on especially when it's like a scary, like raggedy looking woman.
Did you finish the series?
I'm not. I'm halfway through, so don't spoil anything just yet. No, okay. But yeah, so quick advice to guys that are buying the regular releases: if the price scares you away, go back, man. There's stuff that might still be on the shelf from last year, like the LCBO 10.1 Octomore. Right. You're not going to spend as much. It looks much more reasonable at $220 or $210 now than it did last year. Yeah, go back. Don't waste your money unless it's absolutely necessary. If the edition 6 comes in at $200+, which I don't think it will, I think they'll be pretty reasonable. There might still be some edition 5 on the shelf. Clear that out first.
That's another thing about the LCBO is like they do like to clear out old inventory of releases before they put new stuff out. So like, when will this hit the LCBO? It's just no one knows, right?
Probably not till November.
You think they get it out before Christmas time?
You would hope.
Do they have any edition 5 left?
There's still a bit of edition 5 left.
Let me quickly look it up.
I'm gonna say that there's a good portion of edition 5 left. I really like the edition 5.
Yeah, I thought it was good. A quick search. So it is $189.70.
There you go. See, $190.
No, there is actually only 3 bottles left in the entire province.
In the entire province.
So that's sometimes when the LCBO shows like 1 bottle at a store, it essentially means 0.
Yeah.
So it's edition 5 is gone.
It's gone.
Edition 5 is gone.
Wowzers.
So then maybe edition 6 very close to hitting the shelves then.
Within the next few weeks then.
Right.
Because it's got to be here. It's in Alberta.
Yeah.
Or no, it's not in Alberta yet. It'll be in Alberta soon. Right. I'm curious, actually, now that we're, ending it off and whatever else, I'm very curious what the new double cask series tastes like. The 15 double cask, the 18 double cask, and then Alberta also got for the first time in I don't even know how long, the new 18-year-old sherry cask. And I think we're going to get it too. The rumor has it that it's going to be astronomical.
Right.
So then the sherry cask, from what I've research so far is going to be about $500. The double cask is going to be $400. Expensive.
Right.
So add that to what we said already. So we're at 11 grand now.
Too much. Way too much.
We're more than 11 grand.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really much appreciated. If you're just listening to this on podcast streaming service, check out YouTube. We review whiskey there, and vice versa. If you're just watching us and you want to listen, check out all major streaming services for that.
That's right.
Anything else?
You guys are awesome. Let's keep this going, man. We gotta. If you guys have an idea on what you want us to rant about, we're up for suggestions. So let us know.
Throw it on the Patreon.
Throw it on the Patreon.
Yeah.
That's a good idea too. That'll be a good idea.
All right, until next time, guys. Have a good one, and cheers.
Cheers.
See ya.